So Anthony Yarde put a video up on his Instagram account claiming to be a promotional free agent. He said his people, presumably is talking about his manager, Tunde Ajayi, are looking to secure him the best deal. Now, Frank Warren has recently commented on this, and he disputes the claim. He says that Anthony Yarde is not a promotional free agent and that he still has contractual obligations to him or to his promotional company, Queensberry. He said that he feels disappointed, sad. He says that he's done a great job for Anthony Yarde, got him loads of opportunities, and he's hoping this can be resolved without it going the legal route to court and what have you. But we all know that Frank Warren is no stranger to legal proceedings against fighters. So we shall see what transpires here in that regard. But Frank Warren revealed some interesting information. He said that the Joshua Buatsi fight was essentially agreed with Ben Shalom. He said that Buatsi had agreed terms, Ben Shalom had agreed terms, and that Warren was happy to proceed. But Anthony Yarde, presumably Tunde Ajayi as well, were not. And this deal that Joshua Buatsi accepted was a 50-50 deal. Also, the two broadcasters were happy to proceed on a 50-50 basis in TNT and Sky Sports. And Frank Warren seemed to infer that Anthony Yarde wanted the lion's share of the money and that he wasn't happy to accept 50-50. And in a very unusual move for Frank Warren when talking about a fighter he represents, he downplayed Anthony Yarde's commercial value. Or maybe he is presenting it fairly, but the point I'm making is, under normal circumstances, I personally am of the view that Frank Warren would agree that Anthony Yarde is worth more than 50-50 in this fight. But instead, he pointed out the fact that Joshua Buatsi is ranked higher than Anthony Yarde in all four of the major sanctioning bodies. Buatsi is ranked number 1 by the WBC, WBA, and the WBO, and number 3 by the IBF. Whereas Anthony Yarde is ranked number 3 by the WBC, WBA, and WBO, but ranked number 5 by the IBF. So in terms of ranking, yes, Joshua Buatsi's in a stronger position. He just won a final eliminator against Dan Aziz with the WBA, so he's now mandatory for Dimitri Bivol. If he were to fight Anthony Yarde right now, that would serve as another eliminator. So if Anthony Yarde were to beat Joshua Buatsi, he would become mandatory for Dimitri Bivol. So it's not that Joshua Buatsi doesn't bring a lot of value to the table, because he definitely does. But if we're talking about ticket sales and who's the bigger name, I would imagine Anthony Yarde probably is bigger commercially than Joshua Buatsi. But is he so much bigger that he should hold out for a different deal? If we look at it from Yarde's perspective, he's already lost 3 times. One more loss may be the end of him as a commercial entity of any great worth. So can we be that mad at him trying to hold out for more money and go in a different direction and maybe switch promoters? Has he been speaking to the Saudis? Is there some conversation behind the scenes with Ben Shalom? Who knows what's going on here? Because if he does want to go in a different direction, commercially, promotionally, there has to be an option there for him to explore, a viable option. If there isn't, then you're burning bridges for no reason, or burning bridges with no alternative. Now, can we say that Anthony Yarde is attempting to duck Joshua Buatsi here? Well, if he doesn't take the fight next and doesn't fight for a world title next or against a comparable opponent to Joshua Buatsi in terms of quality, then yes, we can call it a duck. As it stands right now, I can't think of a more meaningful or commercially lucrative fight for Anthony Yarde at this stage. Unless he's planning to move up in weight, because they've been talking about that for a long time, Anthony Yarde and Tunde Ajayi. Do they want to go up to cruiserweight maybe? Try and get a fight against Gilberto Ramirez or Chris Billum-Smith? I wouldn't have thought Jay Opataya. Hopefully we get some news in the not too distant future, but personally I am disappointed that the Joshua Buatsi fight is slipping away, because it's one I've wanted to see for many years. And it seems as though Buatsi's done all that he can to try and make it, and everybody else, other than Anthony Yarde and Tunde Ajayi, it would seem. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section below.